For centuries, humanity has lived inside a carefully engineered illusion, not by accident, not by chaos, but by design. Most people never saw the strings. They only felt the movement. Lives shaped, choices guided, paths quietly decided by forces above and beyond view. The first and most powerful tool of control was the law, written not to protect humanity, but to define who counted as human in the first place. Wealth was never meant to flow freely. Invisible lines were drawn. Access was restricted, and entire families were boxed out of opportunity before they could even reach for it. Knowledge is dangerous to systems built on control, so history was erased, rewritten, and replaced with a version that justified domination and erased contribution. When you cannot control the body, you control the mind. Identity was fractured, self-image distorted, and entire communities were taught to see themselves through broken mirrors. Power learned how to perform. 2 podiums, 2 sides, endless debate, but always the same hands pulling the strings behind the curtain. Control no longer needed chains when it could create dependence. What looked like assistance quietly became a restriction, and freedom was traded for survival. This was never confined to one nation. Across the globe, resources were extracted, borders imposed, and debt weaponized. The chains changed shape. Even belief systems were reshaped. Faith was stripped of liberation and repurposed to preach obedience, patience, and silence in the face of injustice. These systems did not operate alone. They interlocked. Each reinforces the other, forming a machine that sustained itself while appearing invisible. The black man was labeled a threat not because of who he was, but because of what he could become. So he was criminalized, neutralized, and removed from power. When slavery ended in name, it continued in practice. Plantations became prisons, chains became sentences, and the same bodies kept walking the same path, just under a new label. Every step upward came with missing rungs. Jobs disappeared, wages stagnated, and progress was made deliberately unstable. When reality could not justify oppression, stereotypes filled the gap. Masks were created, forced on, and repeated until caricature replaced humanity. The black woman was not spared. She was burdened with survival, responsibility, and expectation, praised for her strength only when it served the system. Then came the most effective tactic of all: division, man against woman, blame against blame. A fractured family is easier to control than a united one. In the modern age, conflict went digital. Screens replaced conversations, outrage replaced understanding, and division became profitable. The family was not collateral damage, it was the target, pulled apart by policy, economics, media, and law, leaving generational wounds in its place. Yet even in division, something remained, a spark, a memory of wholeness, a reminder that unity is still possible. Control evolved again, chains became data, surveillance became normal, and freedom was traded for convenience. Attention became the new resource, endlessly harvested, monetized, and cultivated like crops, while the laborers never saw the profit. Images shape reality, and when those images are distorted, identity follows. What people see becomes what they believe. Even opportunity came with conditions, bright doors, hidden traps, progress offered so long as it never threatened the system. The path was prepared early. Classrooms funneled into cells, potential is redirected into punishment, and childhood mistakes made permanent. Choice became illusion, different rhetoric, same destination, two wings, one machine, flying in the same direction. On the surface, everything looked stable, polished, successful, but beneath it all, the foundation was cracking. Equality existed on paper, but justice in practice was weighed down by power long before the scale ever balanced. Labels became limits, narratives became cages, and entire identities were shaped by what the system needed people to believe. But no illusion lasts forever. Cracks form, light enters, and truth begins to break through. When you see the system, you can no longer unsee it. The walls, the symbols, the machinery, all carved into consciousness itself. Once understood, the complexity becomes clear. 8 systems, 1 design, control through coordination, not coincidence. And when awareness spreads, the machine falters. Gears grind, narratives collapse, and power loses its invisibility. What remains is a choice to stay divided or to walk forward together, men, women, children. The old world crumbles behind us. A new path opens ahead. The question is no longer what was done to us. The question is, what will we choose to do now?